All glories to Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Madhya Lila, Chapter 19, Text 187. Hasya Adbhuta Vira Karuna Prodra Vibhatsa Bhaya Pancha Vidha Bhakti Gona Sapta Rasahaya. In addition to the 5 direct mellows, there are 7 indirect mellows, known as laughter, wonder, chivalry, compassion, anger, disaster, and fear. Purport. Similarly, Hasya, Adbhuta, Vira, Karuna, Raudra, Bhaya, and Vibhatsa, the 7 indirect mellows, are explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The Hasya Bhakti Rasa, laughing devotion, is explained as follows. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 4.1.6. Vakshamanar vibhavadyai pushtim hasa rutir gata hasya bhakti raso nama bodhar isha nigajate. When through devotional service a laughing attachment to Krishna is developed, it is called Hasya Bhakti Ras by learned scholars. Similarly, Adbhuta Rasa is described in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 4.2.1. Atmo chitar vibhavadhyai svadyatvam bhakta chetasi savishmaya ratir nitad buddha bhakti raso bhavet. When one's general attachment is fixed in wonder, it is called Adbhuta Bhakti Rasa. Vira Bhakti Rasa is described as follows. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 4.3.1. Saivot Saharatis Dhyayi Vibhavadhyar Nijochita Aniyamana Svadyatvam Vira Bhakti Raso Bhavet Yudhadana Dhaya Dharmais Chatur Daha Vira Chukyate. When attachment to Krishna mixes with the bellicose tendency, the charitable tendency, or the merciful tendency in the heart of the devotee, such devotion is called the Vira Bhakti Ras. Karuna Bhakti Ras is described as follows. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 4.4.1. Atmo chitar vibhavadhyar nita pushtim satam hri bhavik shoka ratir bhakti raso hi karuna vida. When one's devotional attitude and attachment for Krishna is mixed with lamentation, it is called Karuna Bhakti Ras. Similarly, Rudra Bhakti Ras is described as follows. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 4.5.1. Nidha Krodha Rati Pushtim Vibhavadhyar Nijo Chitai Tridi Bhakta Janasya Shau Bhadra Bhakti Raso Bhavet. When devotion is mixed with anger in the heart of the devotee, the taste is called Raudra Bhakti Ras. Bhayanaka Bhakti Ras is described as follows. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 4.6.1. Vakshar Manar Vibhavadhyai Pustim Bhaya Ratir Gatha Bhayanaka Vidho Bhakti Raso Dhrurar Udhirate. When devotion is mixed with fear, it is called Bhayanaka Bhakti Ras. Bhayanaka Bhakti Ras. Vibhatsa Bhakti Ras is described as follows. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 4.7.1. Pustin Lija Vibhavadhyar Yugupsha Ratir Agatha Asao Bhakti Raso Dhirar Vibhatsakya Vitiryate. When one's attachment for Krishna develops in an abominable way, and the devotee enjoys it, that is called Vibhatsa Bhakti Ras. In conclusion, when a pure devotee is situated in any of the 5 principal mellows, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, or Madhura, and that mellow is mixed with one or more of the 7 indirect Bhakti Rasas, Hasya, Adbhuta, Vira, Karuna, Rudra, Bhayanaka, or Vibhatsa, the indirect mellows become prominent. (188) Pancharasa Stahi Vyapi Rahe Bhakta Mane Saptagona Agantuka Paye Karane. The 5 direct transcendental mellows of devotional service are permanently situated in the heart of the devotee, whereas the 7 indirect emotions appear suddenly under certain conditions and appear more powerful. (189) Shanta Bhakta Navayogendra Sanakadiyara Dasya Bhava Bhakta Sabhatra Sevaka Apara. Examples of Shanta Bhaktas are the 9 Yogendras and the 4 Kumars. Examples of devotees in Dasya Bhakti are innumerable, for such devotees exist everywhere. Purport. The 9 Yogendras are Kavi, Havi, Antariksha, Prabhuha, Pipalayan, Avirhotra, Dravida, Drumila, Chamasa, and Karabhajana. The 4 Kumars are Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanut Kumara, and Sanatana. The servant devotees in Gokul are Raktaka, Chitraka, Patraka, and so on. In Dwarpa, there are servants like Daruka, and in the Lord's pastimes in the material world, there are servants like Hanuman. 190. Sakya Bhakta Sridhamari Puri Bhimarjuna Vatsalya Bhakta Mata Pita Yata Guru Jana. In Vrindavan, examples of devotees in fraternity are Sridhama and Sudama. In Dwarka, the Lord's friends are Bhima and Arjuna. In Vrindavan, the devotees in parental love are Mother Yashoda and Father Nanda Maharaj. And in Dwarka, the Lord's parents are Vasudeva and Devaki. There are also other superior persons who are devotees in parental love. 191. Madhura Rase Bhakte Mukhya Vraje Gopi Gana Mahishi Gana Lakshmi Gana Ashankhya Ganana. The chief devotees in conjugal love are the gopis in Vrindavan, the queens in Dwarka, and the goddesses of fortune in Vaikuntha. These devotees are innumerable. 192. Punaha Krishna Rati Haya Dvita Prakara Aishvarya Jnana Mishra Kibhala Veda Ara. Attachment for Krishna is divided into 2 categories. One is attachment with awe and reverence, and the other is pure attachment without reverence. 193. Gokule ke balarati isvarya jnanahina puridvaye vaikuntadye aisvarya pravina. Pure attachment without reverence is found in Gokula Vrindavan. Attachment in which awe and reverence are prominent is found in the 2 cities, Mathura and Dwarka, and in Vaikuntha. 194. Aishvarya Jnana Pradhanye Sankuchita Priti Dekhiya Namane Aishvarya Kevalara Riti. When opulence is very prominent, love of God is somewhat crippled. According to Kevala devotion, however, even though the devotee sees the unlimited potency of Krishna, he considers himself equal to him. 195. Shantadasya rase aisvarya kahan udipana vatsalya sakya madhure takare sankochana. On the transcendental platform of neutrality and service, sometimes the opulence of the Lord is prominent, but in the transcendental mellows of fraternal, parental, and conjugal love, the opulence is minimized. 196. Vasudeva Devakira Krishna Charana Vanila Aisvarya Jnane Dunhara Vane Bhaya Haila. When Krishna offered prayers at the lotus feet of his mother and father, Vasudeva and Devaki, they both felt awe, reverence, and fear due to knowledge of his opulences. 197. Devaki Vasudevascha Vijnanaya Jagad Isvarao Krita Sambandhanao Putrao Jasvajate Dasankitao. When Devaki and Vasudeva understood that their two sons, Krishna and Balaram, who had paid obeisances to them, were the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they became fearful and did not embrace them. Purport. This verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.44.51. Describes what happened just after the killing of Kamsa by Krishna and Balaram. Vasudeva and Devaki saw their son kill the powerful demon Kamsa, and after this they were immediately released from their shackles. Balaram and Krishna then offered respects to Devaki and Vasudeva. Both the father and the mother wanted to embrace their sons, but they understood that Krishna and Balaram were the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore they hesitated to embrace them. Their parental love for Krishna and Balaram was therefore hampered and decreased by awe and reverence. 198. Krishnera Vishvarupa Dekhi Arjunera Hailabhaya Sakyabhave Darsja Kshama Paya Kariya Vinaya. When Krishna manifested his universal form, Arjuna became reverent and fearful, and he begged forgiveness for his past impudence toward Krishna as a friend. 199 through 200. Shaketi matva prashabham yaduktam Shaketi matva prashabham yaduktam He Krishna he Yadava He Krishna he Yadava he Shaketi. Ajananta Mahimmanam Tavidam Maya Pramadat Pranayena Vapi Yachchavaha Sartam Masat Kritosi Vihara Sayasana Bhojaneshu Ekotavapya Chutya Tat Samasksham Tatchamaye Tvam Aham Apremayam. Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. Purport. This is a quotation from Bhagavad Gita 11.41 through 42. In this verse, Arjuna is addressing Krishna, who is exhibiting his universal form on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. 201. Krishna yadi rupini re kaila parihasa Krishna chadi vena jani rupina haila trasa. Although Krishna was joking with Queen Rukmini, she was thinking that he was going to give up her company, and she was therefore shocked. 202. Tasya sudukha bhaya shoka vinasta budher Hastachchalat balyato yajanam papata dehascha viklabhadiya sahasaiva muyan Rambhe Bhavata Vihata Prabhir Kishan. While Krishna was joking with Rukmini in Dwarka, she was full of distress, fear, and lamentation. She had also lost her intelligence. She dropped her hand bangles and the fan she was using to fan the Lord. Her hair became disarrayed, and she fainted and fell suddenly, appearing like a banana tree knocked down by winds. Purport. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.60.24, refers to Krishna speaking to Rukmini in his bedroom, just to test her sincerity. He began to joke with her, presenting himself as poor, incapable, and unfit to be her lover. Not understanding that he was joking, Rukmini took him seriously and thought that he wanted to leave her company. This misunderstanding made her very unhappy, and her whole body was affected. Her fan and bangles fell to the floor, and she also fell down like a banana tree knocked down by high winds. 203. Kevhalara Sudha Prema Aisbharya na jane Aisbharya dekhilo nija Sambandha se mane. In the stage of Kevala, unalloyed devotion, a devotee does not consider the unlimited opulence of Krishna, even though he experiences it. He takes seriously only his own relationship with Krishna. Purport. When a devotee reaches the stage of pure, unalloyed devotion, especially in friendship with Krishna, he forgets the Lord's opulences, although he sees them, and he considers himself equal to Krishna. There is no question of actually comparing oneself to Krishna, but because the devotee is so advanced in Krishna consciousness, he is able to behave with Krishna as he would with an ordinary man. 204. Traya chopan nishad vischa sankhya yogascha satvachai upagyamana mahatmyam harim saman yatatmajam. When Mother Yashoda saw all the universes within Krishna's mouth, she was astonished for the time being. The Lord is worshipped like Indra and other demigods by followers of the three Vedas who offer him sacrifices. He is worshipped as impersonal Brahman by saintly persons who understand his greatness through studying the Upanishads, as the Purusha by great philosophers who analytically study the universe, and the all-pervading Supersoul by great yogis, and as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotees. Nevertheless, Mother Yashoda considered the Lord her own son. This verse is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.45. Those who are spiritually advanced forget Krishna's opulence by the mercy of Yogamaya. For instance, Mother Yashoda considered Krishna an ordinary child. 205. Tamat Vatmajam Avyaktam Marjalingam Adhokshajam Gopi Kolu Kale Dhamna Labhanda Prakritam Yata. Although Krishna is beyond sense perception and is unmanifest to human beings, he takes up the guise of a human being with the material body. Thus Mother Yashoda thought him to be her son, and she bound Lord Krishna with a rope to a wooden mortar, as if he were an ordinary child. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.9.14, is in reference to Lord Krishna's exhibiting himself like an ordinary child before Mother Yashoda. He was playing like a naughty boy, stealing butter and breaking butter pots. Mother Yashoda became disturbed and wanted to bind the Lord to a mortar used for pounding spices. In other words, she considered the Supreme Personality of Godhead an ordinary child. 206. Vaha Krishna Bhagavan Sudhamanam Pararjita Vrishabam Bhadrasenastu Palambo Rohini Sutam. When Krishna was defeated by Sridama, he had to carry him on his shoulders. Similarly, Bhadrasena carried Vrishabha, and Pralamba carried Balaram, the son of Rohini. Purport. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.18.24. When all the cowherd boys were playing in the forest of Vrindavan, the demon Pralambasura appeared in order to kidnap Krishna and Balaram. The Asura appeared disguised in the form of a cowherd boy, but Krishna could understand his trick. Krishna therefore divided all the cowherd boys into two parties. One party belonged to Balaram and the other party belonged to Krishna himself. Ultimately, Krishna was defeated in this play, and according to the wager, the defeated party had to carry the victorious party on their shoulders. Krishna had to carry Sri Dhamma on his shoulders, and Bhadrasena had to carry Vrishbhava. The demon Pralambasura had to carry Balaram, and when Balaram mounted his shoulders, the demon ran far away. Finally, the demon began to expand his body to a gigantic size, and Balaram understood that he intended to kill him. Balaram immediately struck the demon's head with his strong fist, and the demon fell down dead as if he were a snake whose head had been smashed. (207 through 209). Sacha mena tadatmanam varishtam sarvayoshitam hitva gopi kamayana mamaso bhajate priya tato gatva vanodesham drita keshavam abravit naparaye ham chalitam ayamam yatra te mana evam ukta priyam aha skandham aru hayatam iti tatas chantar dadhe Krishna savadhur anvatapyata. Translation. My dearmost Krishna, you are worshipping me and giving up the company of all the other gopis who wanted to enjoy themselves with you. Thinking like this, Srimati Radharani considered herself Krishna's most beloved gopi. She had become proud and had left the Rasa Lila with Krishna. In the deepest forest, she said, my dear Krishna, I cannot walk anymore. You can take me wherever you like. When Srimati Radharani petitioned Krishna in this way, Krishna said, just get up on my shoulders. As soon as Srimati Radharani began to do so, he disappeared. Srimati Radharani then began to grieve over her request and Krishna's disappearance. Purport. These three verses are quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.30.36 through 38. 210. Ati Sutan Bhaya Bhratri Bandhavan Ati Vilan Yate Nitya Chuta Gata Gati Viras Tabod Gita Mohitaha Kitavayoshita Kas Jajan Nishi. Dear Krishna, we gopis have neglected the order of our husbands, sons, family, brothers, and friends, and have left their company to come to you. You know everything about our desires. We have come only because we are attracted by the supreme music of your flute. But you are a great cheater, for who else would give up the company of young girls like us in the dead of night? Purport. In this verse, quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.31.16, describes how the gopis went to the forest for Krishna's enjoyment in the dead of night. The gopis approached Krishna to enjoy themselves with him in the rasa dance. Krishna knew this very well, but he was superficially trying to avoid them. He is therefore addressed by the gopis as Ketava, a great cheater, because he first attracted them to come dance with him, and yet, when they actually came, neglecting the odors of their friends and relatives, he tried to avoid them by giving them so-called good instructions. These cunning instructions were too much for the gopis to tolerate. They therefore had a right to address Krishna as Ketava, a great cheater. They were all young girls, and they had come to him to be enjoyed. How could he avoid them? The gopis therefore expressed great disappointment in this verse. They came voluntarily, but Krishna was so cunning that he wanted to avoid their company. The gopis' lamentation was certainly very appropriate, and in this way Krishna tested their sincerity. 211. Shantarase Svarupa Bhuje Shantarase Svarupa Bhuje Krishnaika Nistata Samhomanistata budhe iti Sri Mukhagata. When one is fully attached to Krishna's lotus feet, one attains the samatha stage. The word samatha is derived from the word sama. Therefore, shantaras, the position of neutrality, means being fully attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. This is the verdict from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. This state is called self-realization. The corresponding verse from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 3.1.47 follows. 2:12. Samo manistatha budher iti Sripad vacha tanista durgatha budher etam shantaratim vina. These are the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one's intelligence is fully attached to my lotus feet, but one does not render practical service, one has attained the stage called Shantarati, or Sama. Without Shantarati, attachment to Krishna is very difficult to achieve. (213) Samo manistatha budher dhamma indriya samyama titiksha dukha samvarsho jivho pastajayo driti. The word sama or shantaras indicates that one is attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. Dhamma means controlling the senses and not being deviated from the Lord's service. Endurance of unhappiness is titiksha, and driti means controlling the tongue and the genitals. Purport. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.19.36. The conditioned soul under the clutches of Maya, the material energy, is very much agitated by the urges of the tongue and the genitals. Control of the urges of the tongue, the belly, and the genitals, which are situated in a straight line, is called driti. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, Tra madhye jibhaati lobhamaya sudurmati. Among the senses, the tongue is the most formidable enemy of the control of the conditioned soul. Urged by the tongue, one commits many sinful activities. Although Krishna has given human beings nice food, people still commit sins by killing poor animals for the satisfaction of the tongue. Not being able to control the tongue, the conditioned soul eats more than he needs. Of course, everyone must eat to keep the body fit for the Lord's service, but when one cannot control the senses, he falls victim to the dictations of the tongue and the belly. Naturally, genital agitation follows, and one seeks illicit sex. However, if one is fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna, he can control the tongue. Bhakti Vinod Thakur further states, Krishna bada dayamaya karibare jiva jaya sva prashada ana dilabaya. In order to conquer the tongue, Krishna has been very merciful and has given us nice food that has been offered to him. When a person is attached to Krishna's lotus feet, he does not eat anything not offered to Krishna. Sei anamrita kau radha Krishna gunagau premedhaka Chaitanya Nitai. Since a devotee eats only prasadam, he conquers the dictations of the tongue, belly, and genitals. One can control the dictates of the senses when situated in the position of shantaras. Then one's advancement in Krishna consciousness is assured. 2:14. Krishna vina Krishna tyaga tarakaya mani ateva shanta Krishna bhakta eka jani. Giving up all desires not connected with Krishna is the business of one who is in Shantaras. Only a devotee of Krishna can be situated on that platform. He is thus called a Shantaras Bhakta. Purport. In this position, one is freed from all material enjoyment. When one is not agitated or disturbed, he can immediately realize his relationship with Krishna. A Shantaras devotee is therefore always fixed in realization. This instruction was given by the Lord himself to Uddhava. The beginning of pure devotional service is called Anyaha Vilasita Sunya. When one is situated on the platform of neutrality, he is freed from the material platform and fully situated in spiritual life. The word Dhamma, used in verse 213, means Indriya Samyam, curbing one's senses. The word Dhamma can also mean curbing one's enemies. A king has to take steps to curb the criminal activities of his citizens. Great Raja Rishis, devotee kings, used to control undesirable elements in their states, and this also may be called Dham. However, Dham here refers to the conditioned soul who must control his senses. Real Dhamma means controlling the undesirable activities of the senses. 215. Svarga moksha Krishna bhakta narakari mane Krishna nista trishna tyaga shantera dvigane. When a devotee is situated on the platform of Shantaras, he desires neither elevation to the heavenly planets nor liberation. These are the results of karma and jnana, and the devotee considers them no better than hell. A person situated on the Shantaras platform manifests the two transcendental qualities of detachment from all material desires and full attachment to Krishna. This ends our reading for today. All glories to Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai. All glories to Vishnupad Satchidananda Paramahamsa Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Nimalacharya Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna.